Now, the Tuscaloosa Chevrolet Sports Update with WVUA's Gary Harris.
Check it out. The Giants really struggled to score runs in the National League Division Series and Championship Series. Even though they won them, they did it with pitching. But they have feasted on Texas pitching for 2 straight nights. After scoring 11 runs in Game 1, they shut out the Rangers 9-0 tonight. They've got a commanding 2-0 lead now in the best 4 out of 7 2010 World Series. And good evening, everybody. This is the final week of regular season high school football, so why wait until tomorrow night to get it started? There was plenty of Thursday night prep action on the menu, and we've got it for you. Bryant hosting Northridge. You know, Bryant used to be Class 6A in the same region with Northridge. They dropped down to 5A, but this is still a great City of Tuscaloosa rivalry. First possession, though, for the Jags and Antonio Easterwood. See you later. 61-yard touchdown, 7-zip. Next possession for Northridge. Easterwood again caps off a long drive with this 2-yard run. It's 14-0. We move to the second quarter. This time, Northridge goes to the air. Quarterback Brooks Burns sets up the screen pass perfectly to Griffin Rudolph. Well blocked, just well executed, and he motors in for the score. That made it 21-0. That would be the final. That's all the scoring. Northridge over Bryant tonight, 21-zip the final. Hillcrest traveled down to Demopolis this evening. Our Todd Hoyer traveled with the Patriots, taking on the Demopolis Tigers. And Hillcrest first quarter, Jabir Stevens rips off a 40-yard gain, but you got to hang on to the football. He puts it on the ground. Levon Terry recovers at the 3. But 2 plays later, an even bigger miscue for the Tigers. In their own end zone, they fumble it. James Wilson can't handle it. James Scott falls on it. That's a touchdown for the Patriots, 7-0. After a Tigers punt, the Patriots drive downfield. Stevens caps it off. This time he doesn't fumble it. 4-yard touchdown run made it 14-0. Near the end of the first quarter, though, Demopolis gets one back. Wilson motors his way 8 yards up the middle for the score. That made it 14-7. It was close at half, but in the second half, the Patriots pull away. They finished the regular season 9-1. 34-14 was the final. Gordo traveling to Pickens County over in Reform. Great neighborhood battle. And Pickens County here in the first quarter puts it on the ground. They short snap the football. Gordo not caught off guard. Keon Washington picks it up and scores. It's 14-0 at this point. Still in the first quarter, Deion Curry looking for a receiver, but he finds Gordo instead. Jones with the pick, and the Green Wave take advantage. Cameron Sanders is going to find Keon Washington here. And Washington, very elusive, makes a guy miss, makes another guy miss, turns it into about a 30-yard pickup. The Green Wave's in business. Very next play, Greg Howard pulls it into the end zone. 21-zip at this point, and Gordo smashes the Tornadoes tonight. No tornado warnings this evening. 54-zip the final score. Other prep scores, Central finishes with no wins in the regular season. They fall at Woodlawn tonight over in Birmingham, 27-13. Hamilton over Fayette County, 43-22. Sulligett took down South Lamar, 48-7. Jackson blanked Greene County, 42-zip. And John Essex down in Demopolis beat R.C. Hatch, 42-12 was the final. It's time for our Athlete's Foot High School Athletes of the Week. Northridge lost a shot at the region championship when the Jaguars fell to rival Hillcrest 17-9 last Friday night. But in a losing cause, number 3, Vinny Sinceri, had one of the best games a defensive player has had this season. The 5'11", 215-pound senior linebacker, who's committed to play at Alabama, recorded 23 tackles in the game. Sinceri, who also returns kicks for the Jags, has racked up 107 tackles on the season. Meanwhile, Bibb County and West Blockton squared off for the first time in 27 years last Friday night, and Bibb County junior running back C.J. Cutts celebrated the occasion by rushing for 147 yards and 3 touchdowns on only 8 carries as the Choctaws rolled over the Tigers 62-0 to improve to 9-0 on the season. So congratulations to Vinny Sinceri of Northridge and C.J. Cutts of Bibb County, our Athlete's Foot High School Athletes of the Week. Well, Alabama quarterback Greg McElroy is one of 16 college football seniors named as a member of the National Football Foundation's 2010 Scholar Athlete class. Chosen from a pool of 121 nominees, each recipient will receive an $18,000 postgraduate scholarship and remains a candidate for the William V. Campbell Trophy, billed as college football's most prestigious academic honor. And what a college football game tonight in Raleigh, North Carolina. Christian Ponder fumbled the football inside the 5-yard line of North Carolina State late in the game. He had a tight end wide open. Had he not fumbled the football, it would have been a touchdown. But NC State gets the victory, 28-24. 24 over the Seminoles. That's a look at sports. The news at 10 will return right after this. Our first guest this morning has reported for USA Today, the New York Times, the Chicago Tribune, and Newsday. During his storied career, he interviewed some of the biggest names in sports, covered Super Bowls, Final Fours, Olympic Games, National Championship football games. And today, Malcolm Moran is the Knight Chair in Sports Journalism and the director of the John Curley Center for Sports Journalism at Penn State, and he joins us now live on the program. Malcolm, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Gary. I do have one correction to make. Apparently, there's been some speculation that Joe had something.
It's drinking the Kool-Aid, thinking that just because they say it on ESPN, it's so. Reading the newspapers all week, just because you beat Florida 31-6, people start talking about you being the best team in the country. We're not the best team in the country. We're not the best team in the country. We had the best team in the country last year, and we proved it. We proved it over 14 games. All right, and this team hadn't proved, excuse my language. That's how I feel about it. So I'm really upset that I used bad language. I'm sorry. I'm sure I'll get some letters on that, emails, and should.
I have people call me all the time and tell me I don't know blank. And they're probably right. With that, we say good evening, everybody, and welcome into Tider Insider TV, presented by Buffalo Rock. Tonight, ice cold Diet Pepsi, alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com. I'm Gary Harris, and Rodney, unfortunately, we begin with the disappointment in Columbia. Now, that soundbite you just heard from Coach Saban came after a reporter asked him on Monday about comments that Mark Ingram made following the game on Saturday at South Carolina.
Alabama's home team sports.
And your home team sports crew has been covering the national championship game from California all week.
Gary Harris has a wrap-up of the big game between Bama and Texas from inside the Rose Bowl.
Alabama players wanted to give Nick Saban a Gatorade shower at the SEC championship game, but junior All-American linebacker Orlando McClain would not let them do it, saying we've got unfinished business. Well, on Thursday night in Pasadena, California, Nick Saban got a Gatorade shower when Alabama clinched its 13th national championship, but its first since 1992, 37-21 over the Texas Longhorns. And guess what? Even Nick Saban wasn't too upset about getting wet.
Well, I wish they'd do the water, you know. The Gatorade's awful sticky. I'm a lot happier with the bath than I would have been if I didn't get one, I can tell you that. So it's part of it, and I was happy to see the players be so happy and excited, and I think they always enjoy dumping on the coach.
Nick Saban always talks about overcoming adversity during a game, during a season, during a practice, and certainly Alabama had to do that on Thursday night against Texas. The Longhorns lost their star quarterback, Colt McCoy, on the 5th play of the game, but they fought back in the second half. Down 24-6 at the break, they made it 24-21 and had a chance to win when the Alabama defense stepped up and made the plays to secure the victory. Following the game, Coach Saban said that he's never been prouder of a football team.
I'll tell you what I told the team, that I've never been prouder of a group of guys for their resiliency, their buy-in, their hard work, the blood, sweat, and tears that they put forth to accomplish what they accomplished this season. I think most of us don't realize how difficult it is, the togetherness that it takes, the discipline and execution that it takes, and certainly the hard work that these guys did. And we certainly appreciate it and are proud of them, and want to congratulate every member of our team and coaching staff for the great job that they did.
Let's show you some action from the game on Thursday night. Alabama came out and really got caught off guard, it looked like. Texas pulling out some stops in the kicking game and getting Alabama to have some miscues, got a couple of field goals to make it 6-0. But as we mentioned earlier, McCoy went out on this hit by Marcel Darius, and that really changed the tenor of the game. Alabama's defense began to make plays against a freshman quarterback, and the offense got the running game going in the second quarter, and that led to a couple of touchdowns. And then Alabama, right before the half, it's Darius again with the interception on the shuffle pass The next to last play of the second quarter, he returns it for a touchdown, and Alabama was up big 24-6. In the second half, though, as we mentioned earlier, Texas fought back, made it 24-21. We had ourselves a ball game. In fact, Texas had the ball with an opportunity to either tie the game or win it late when Eric Anders stepped up and made the biggest play of the season. The sack, the fumble, Alabama gets on top of it. That led to a Mark Ingram touchdown, and that put Alabama ahead for good. Another interception later in the game led to a Trent Richardson touchdown, and Alabama wins it 37-21. So John, Huddleston, Alabama overcomes adversity to win the national championship 37-21. It wasn't always pretty. In fact, that third quarter was downright ugly for Alabama. But as they've done all season, they found a way to win. That's why they're 14-0, and that's why Alabama is the national champion for 2009.
Well, like you said, Gary,